This affordable light from Godox can help you step up your lighting for videos or streams, taking your video lighting from this to this. When it comes to video, good quality lighting is crucial, but it can get expensive. Some of the more popular high-quality lights used by YouTubers can cost between $545 to $1,099 USD. As someone who needed expensive lights in film school classes, but couldn't afford them, I had to make do with budget lighting. So I wanted to see, can the SL100 series from Godox be all the light you need? If you enjoy videos looking into affordable content creation, then subscribe and ring that bell to see more videos just like this one. Speaking of affordable, at the price point of $229 USD for the SL100Bi, or the SL100D being $179, it makes these serious contenders to be the best affordable all-around studio lights that you'll need. Now, in full disclosure, Godox did send me the SL100Bi Light for free, but Godox didn't pay me for this video, and they haven't seen this review before it was published to YouTube, meaning they're seeing it for the first time when it's published. That said, I've actually been using the Godox SL100Bi Light with my own light modifier for the filming of this entire section of video. If you like how this light looks and you want to pick it up for yourself, I'll have an affiliate link in the description down below, right above the YouTube chapters. But keep watching until the end to see how to create a lighting setup with this light. To start, this light is what's known as a monolight. That just means that the light is self-contained and has a power supply, cooling fan, and a lamp head, which makes the light all in one. Compare this to traditional halogen lights that might need a separate housing, bulb, etc. This light is beginner friendly. Out of the box, you get the light body, a reflector, this protective cover, and of course the power cord. But in order to save on cost, this light comes straight out of the box without a carrying case, which I'm fine with because at 1.6 kilograms or 3.5 pounds, it's not that heavy of a light and it's easy to move anywhere. Another cost-saving measure they took is this has an elbow joint connector that controls the tilt and locks with this plastic lever here. Above the lever is an umbrella holder, which is nice if you want to modify your lights in that way. Speaking of light modification, this light has what's called a Bowens mount, which is one of the universal lighting mounts. I'll talk about these a bit later in the review when I talk about accessories to use with this light. However, let's talk about the most important part of any light, the light itself. The Godox SL100 series comes in two configurations, a daylight or a bi-colored version. You can tell the difference between the two with the letters BI or the letter D behind the 100. The 100 on this light stands for 100 watts. The main difference between the bicolored light and the daylight balanced light is the control you get over the color temperature. Speaking of color temperature, the color temperature of the SL100Bi for the parts where I'm on camera is set to 5600 Kelvin. My camera's white balance is also manually set to 5600 Kelvin to make sure the color temperature is accurate. If you need some help on understanding white balance, I'll have some resources linked in the description. You can get to the controls of the Godox SL100 series on the back of the light here, with the remote, which is sold separately, or through the Godox mobile app using a Bluetooth connection. This light is also surprisingly bright. Godox says that it outputs to 32,100 lux at a meter away with its reflector. I have my light 1 meter, or 39 inches for us Americans, away from the wall like it says in its advertising. So if we start on the back left-hand side, we have the variable color temperature control. As you can see on the display, I'm changing the color temperatures from 2800 to 6500 Kelvin. If I control the dim knob, you can see just how bright this light gets. This is where those 32,100 lux come in. Personally, I love how bright this light is and think it offers more than enough light for a light of this size. On the daylight version of this light, you have no control of the color temperature, and it's set to 5600 Kelvin, which you can see my light is set to now. This also controls the different FX options for the light, which the 100D has 8 effects and the 100Bi has 3 more for a total of 11 effects. The final options for control are group and channel. This is really useful for multiple lights, but since this is a more beginner-friendly video, we're not really going to focus on them. But just know, if you purchase the optional remote, you need to match the group and channel there. This is also the same for the Bluetooth option. The final option is the Bluetooth button, which lets you connect this light wirelessly to the Godox app. Now, that is a very quick overview of the color of light, but what about the quality and accuracy of the light? Godox says the light has a CRI, or color rating index, of about 96 plus, and a TLCI, or television lighting consistency index, of 97 plus. The CRI and the TLCI are both measurements of a light's accuracy. CRI is based on the human eye and how it sees colors, where TLCI is how your camera looks at this color. Since cameras don't see exactly like our human eyes do, both are a good idea of the quality of light it produces. Now, some lights have a low or no CRI/TLCI rating listed. I recommend being careful because lower rated lights can have a green/magenta hue on the skin and will make your videos look unnatural. When I was in film school, my lighting professor said that you want to shoot for a CRI rating of about 90 or above, and so that's what I've always done. The SL100 series being higher than 90 is, as the rating says, excellent. Godox says that they imagine the 100D to be the basic good quality light, and the 100Bi to be for a bit more creativity. Depending on what you're trying to do, the SL100D is more than enough, but if you want more options, for $50 more, the SL100Bi is worth the upgrade. However, the cost of the light isn't just the light itself. Let's look at some of the required accessories to get your videos to look like mine. The first thing you'll need is a light stand that can support the weight of the light. So any light stand will do as long as it supports the weight. I'll have a newer stand and a C-stand listed. The next thing you'll need is sandbags for the lights. If you want to learn how to make your own sandbags, I'll have a card on screen. Next, if you want the look I have, you'll need a light modifier. This can be diffusion sheets, an umbrella, or a softbox. You can get a softbox in a variety of shapes, but Godox did send me their QRP70, which is easy to set up and tear down. You're going to see this light modifier used when I talk about lighting setups. The final thing I use is a grid for your light, and I'll have all of these things listed in the description down below. Keep in mind that when buying a light, there's more cost than just the light itself. That's something that I wish I knew back then, but I do know now, and I want you to know too. Speaking of knowing, I want to share with you some of the negative aspects of this light. For starters, it can get pretty loud after a bit of use. Even if I have the light off via the remote or Bluetooth, its fans will still whir, and according to this decibel app I downloaded, this is just about how loud it is. When I first received this light, I tried using this light as a hair light, but the problem was that my boom mic was picking up the fan noise. So I ended up using this as a fill light. Now, it's not a deal breaker if you're using this light from far away, but I feel the noise should be addressed. The next thing I have an issue with is the power cable. Now, it's very long, and that's a good thing, but I've actually moved this light while it's on and the cable disconnects and reconnects, and that isn't a great thing to see. I don't know why they didn't use a design like they had on their VL150 lights to keep it more secure. I don't think this will be a big issue if you unplug and replug in this light every time, but just something I've noticed. I also noticed that Aputure's 100D has this as an option in the same price point as the Godox option, so I think Godox could have done this here. Finally, there's no guard near the light housing on the Bowens mount, so when you take off an accessory, this is pretty sharp. I want you to listen when I run my fingernail on it. I personally haven't had any issues, but I do think it's weird to have it like this, and when you're constantly putting on and off accessories, you don't want to worry about something like this, and I could easily see someone who isn't experienced accidentally getting hurt here. Those are my only real gripes about this light. Overall, I really think the light, despite these issues, is a great key, fill, or kicker light for any studio. Now I want to show you what you can do with this light. So let's take a look at some different lighting setups. So this is usually what my work setup looks like. I have one light over here that kind of illuminates my face, but it doesn't do that good of a job. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Godox SL100 and really even out my face, as you can see. And what this is going to do for me is when I'm doing live streaming or if I'm in a work call, I'm just gonna look way more presentable than I did before. So this is set to currently 12%. It's set to 5600 Kelvin to match the 100D. But if I wanted to, I could easily change this and make this match the lighting in the room by setting it to 2800 Kelvin now. So as you can see, because my camera here needs some time to adjust, it doesn't look good. But if I go back to, 5600, we're nice and even. This looks a lot more presentable. And this is only using a C920 webcam. So that's just one easy way that you can have this lighting set up to really elevate your streams. So in this video, I'm actually just using my smartphone, which is the Samsung Galaxy S20. I have my Godox light to the left of me at a 45-degree angle, a bit pointed down. And yeah, this is just another way you could do it. I just wanted to showcase how important good lighting is, because I know a lot of people think it's really the camera. But earlier we showed a webcam. Now we are focusing on just a cell phone. And in my setup, I use a GH5. So it really goes to show just how important lighting is. And when we say light, camera, action, there's a reason lighting is first when it comes to good quality video. And finally, here is my YouTube set. So the only lights illuminating me right now are a floor lamp, which is over there, as well as my overhead light, just because I don't have an easy way to turn it on. But in order to show you how to properly set this up, the first thing I'm gonna do is turn off the lights. Now, this is definitely a look, but not necessarily the look we're going for. So right now, the only light that is on me is my hair light, as you can see illuminating down on me. This actually could be an interesting kind of style if you're trying to do like interview or silhouette kind of style. That's not what I'm going for in this video. So we're gonna go ahead and start with my kicker light, which is gonna add some light here. So as you can see, it adds a little bit more dimensions to my face. So we have our hair light and we have our kicker light. That kicker light is actually my Godox SL100 I mentioned a little bit earlier in this review. Now we're gonna turn on the SL100Bi to really be my key light and add some light to my face. So we're gonna do that now. Now this light is set from 40%. It's to the right of myself and it's at 45-degree angle to my camera. If we go to the overhead view, you now can see this is actually not a terrible setup. What we have is more than enough for a lot of people, but I like to have some things that are called practicals. And that's the things such as my lava lamp, my little lantern, and my architect light. So I'm gonna quickly turn them on. Now, this adds even more dimension, but the final two lights I have are small little aperture lights that I like to have behind me, and that's what adds that pop of color. So I'm gonna quickly turn them on now. And that is 100% how you can get the exact look I have. I also want to mention that my camera settings are important too. I mentioned earlier I'm shooting with the GH5 and that's the studio in its entirety. With those setups, you can see this amazing light in action. And if you're looking for a light, I highly recommend the SL100 series. If this light was around when I was in film school, I think I would have done much better in my classes. These lights from Godox are more than enough light, and I could build a kit with 2 of these for the cost of one of its higher price competitors. With that said, this light's gonna be making a permanent home in my production kit for now. If you wanna pick one up and support the channel, I'll have the affiliate links in the description down below. One thing I'd like to know is, what lights are you using for your video productions? Let me know in those comments down below. Do you wanna learn how to improve your audio for your videos? Then check out that playlist on screen. And remember, I'm Andrew Can, and if I can get better at lighting my videos, then you can too.